My name is Kay Hopkins, and I am an educator. I was first a classroom teacher and then a school librarian. And now I'm retired, which is fabulous.
Why did you choose to be a librarian?
I've always been fascinated by information and reading and wanted to be able to give that to other people or help them access it. One of the things in my degree program, because there is a Master of Library Science, which I have, and I came to understand the idea of information literacy, which is being able to access and evaluate and then use information appropriately. And that kind of became a passion of mine. And I wanted to help young people do that.
Can you talk about your experience with banned books or policies or mindsets regarding censorship in libraries?
One of the things in our degree program that we do around banned books, but really all library policies, you need to have a policy in place so that you know what to do if a challenge occurs. The term banned books is a little misleading. What happens is challenges are made, and generally the book is reviewed, and there is no need to actually ban the book. So we were always encouraged in our program to have a plan, a policy. Most school districts, public libraries, there is a board or a committee that will read the challenged material and discuss and make recommendation with specifics as to why that challenge was made. And it will include patrons of the library, if it's a school, administrators, um, and of course the librarian, and maybe another librarian in a similar area. And then decisions are made. No library can have every book anyway. So you do make decisions based on your patrons. You want to make sure that all patrons are represented. And um, that really means there has to be literature, there have to be um, nonfiction materials that support multiple points of view, multiple um, ways that we are as humans.
What are we losing when we ban books or when there are challenges?
Uh, we're losing opportunity. Humans are diverse. What, there are 8 million billion some different ways of being human now? To limit our understanding of those in any way by challenging some viewpoint that maybe makes us uncomfortable robs us of the opportunity to know each other more fully. So much right now is around sexuality and this fear that somehow a child somewhere will get a hold of a book that makes them change who they are in some way. It doesn't happen that way. I think it can give a child, a young person, an adult, an opportunity to understand who they might be. It can also give someone the opportunity to explore what they might not be, what they might not believe, what they might not think in a really safe way. They can have an experience from a book that will help them understand more fully and hopefully have appreciation for and empathy, but maybe be able to step back and say, I get that, but it's not me. And I think sometimes that gets lost in the equation. Both are really valid experiences. Here I am, finally, I see myself. Or, okay, now I get it. And that's not what's going on with me.
Thank you. I appreciate you pointing out how um, reading and exploring other people's lives and their worlds can really help folks develop deeper empathy. That was one of the first things that came to mind when you were speaking. Um, have you had this experience yourself?
Absolutely. There have been things that you maybe read about in the newspaper, and I think, I just don't get that. That could not be me. But then if you read maybe a character in a book who has done such a thing, experienced such a thing, you can understand it. Even if it's still not you, you can understand how it is them and how that's a valid, um, acceptable, not even to be judged by those terms. That just is. There's a great book. It was French, but it's been translated, The Anomaly, and it's actually on my shelf. But it starts with the first chapter is a very expensive hitman, assassin, and you're brought into this book with his story of how he took on this profession, and he's very good at it. And he's also a father and husband, very loving. It's two separate lives. Of course, his family doesn't know. And while I cannot reconcile in my mind taking money to kill people who are, I mean, he, by his own admission, many of them are good people who've been doing the right thing but run afoul of the wrong person who just wants them dead. And he makes it, well, and sometimes even worse. Anyway, um, but I could understand that in a way that this was another human, a complex human who I did not want to be, did not want to emulate, but he had a story and a way of being.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll want that in there, but
I appreciate that you shared that. Now I'm going to read that book.
oh, you want to borrow it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so last question. If you had to do a public service announcement warning people against banning books, what would you say?
I think my public service announcement, uh, as regards banning books, is simply don't. Let's not ban books. Definitely, if you are a parent and you read a book that concerns you for your child, have conversations with them. And you can even go to the librarian, wherever that might be, a school library, a public library. These are experts. They understand child development, what's appropriate, um, and they will listen to you and they will take it into consideration. And while you as a parent have the absolute right to have input and even control over what your child reads, you do not have that right for any other person. And you might want to, instead of keeping your child from reading it, read it with them. Talk about it. Talk about why you are concerned. Help them walk through the issues that you see.